everybody, and Happy New Year!
Happy New Year!
It is the year 2017 here in New York City, where we are at.
Which means we are old.
Yes, that's one of the things it means. It also means it's a brand new year, full of brand new things and experiences, and hopefully good things.
Yeah.
And hopefully lots of stitching.
Yeah, lots of stitching.
What I would like. I don't know about this one. But as you can see, I have Tommy here with me again today. My purpose is on coming to you on the first day of 2017 is to do a 2016 year in review / wrap-up video. Jessie Marie and everyone at Flosstube who contributed to that tag. I'm sorry, I looked at it and I have so much here to show you that I was like, that's a little long. It's a lot of questions, and I didn't know the answers to any of them. So I'm not doing that. But I did read it, and I thought about participating. But the reason that this guy is here with me, which if you do not know, this is my friend Tommy, my birthday twin. He just started stitching this year, and he has, one, some things that he finished and hasn't shown you all yet, and two, we thought he'd have like a little mini year in review.
Yeah.
And not mini as in it's necessary less time, but mini as in it's considerably less stuff.
I have less things. I don't have any whips right now, though.
No.
Did you like that I used the
lingo?
Yeah,
he had
lingo.
it. Yeah, he had it down. So Tommy's entering 2017 with a clean slate.
Yeah. Wow. That means I need to start something.
But you're, yes. I've been asking him what he's planning to start yet. He has some ideas.
Made a commitment to anything yet.
No commitments yet, yeah. So your not Flosstube anniversary, because that's, but your Stitch anniversary maybe would be in February. Do we know when it is?
Yeah, it would be February, because that's when we started.
Maybe late February?
Peter Pan, yeah.
Mid to late February, so it's coming up.
Is this guy right here?
But it's not even been a year yet. So, because Tommy's going to be real quick, I'm assuming with his, we will start with that.
Okay.
So, do you want to start from the very first thing you started and finished, and then we'll go through to the end? What is that?
A little fox.
Yeah.
Yeah. We went to the craft store while we were on our contract, and Brittany was like, you should pick something out and give it a try. And I was like, okay. And so I picked out this little fox guy who turned out to be a lot harder than I expected him to be.
Yeah. The fabric is pretty small. Right?
Yeah, the fabric is small, and then there were a lot of like quarter stitches that I had never, it was my first one.
Yeah, and it's tricky for the first one.
I was like, Brittany, I don't know about this.
And I said, you can do it. And it turned out pretty cute, I think.
It turned out cute. I was off on my stitch count somewhere in it, and so his head is like kind of not where it should be, but there he is.
I think probably every person, most people who make videos on Flosstube have at least one project they fudged because they were too far into it to think, I'm going to rip all this out.
Yeah.
I have some like that.
But I think it turned out well for a first try.
I agree.
Yeah. So then I liked it, and Brittany was kind enough to give me another pattern. And it's this, I need to iron them. It's this little owl. I've shown this one before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was a kit we found at Hobby Lobby.
Yeah.
I forget the manufacturer. I'm sorry. But it's called the Colorful Owl or something.
Something like that. Yeah.
It has hearts on its wings.
Yeah, I liked this one because of all the colors, the different colors in it. So that was fun to play with colors. And this one didn't have any of those quarter stitches, I don't think.
Doesn't have any back stitch either, does it?
No.
Just cross stitch.
Don't look at the back.
Don't even think about it.
No, but yeah, so I liked this one. The colors were fun. And then after that, this is when we went to that
we went
store.
to the Stitchy store.
Yeah.
And Tommy saw this fabric and thought it was really cool, which it is really cool.
Yeah, so it's kind of like this, like, flamey.
Yeah.
And then I got this pattern for it, which is a character from a video game, from a Final Fantasy video game. He's kind of like a magician.
It's so cool.
A wizard. Yeah, and it looks really cool on this like fiery pattern.
Oh yeah.
On this fiery.
That's really neat.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
And this is the Black Mage?
Black Mage, yeah. From Final Fantasy.
Birdie Stitching.
Birdie Stitches. Yes. There's that. And then another one from Birdie Stitches, I did this Pokemon, again on a cool fabric that we got from that store. It's a Dragonair.
So this is one you guys haven't seen yet.
Yeah. Oh, is it? I thought we showed them this one.
No. I think we said you were going to start that one.
Okay.
I don't think
Maybe
you've seen this one, but if you have, then that's okay. But I think you had 2 finishes to show off.
Okay. Yeah. So there's that guy. I think it turned out really well.
Beautiful. Well, it's a really nice.
It a lot.
It's a pretty Pokemon too.
And the just the fabric was very pretty and.
And I mean, you hate the color blue, right?
I hate it. It's my least favorite. There were so many blues that made me happy. And
speaking of
lots of blues, so I made a birthday gift for someone, and he really likes the movie The Page Master, which is like a 90s
it's
movie.
Going back to the 90s.
Starring
is it Macaulay Culkin? Yeah, / live action and
cartoon.
Animation.
Yeah. And he's like locked in a library and he has to face his fears.
He's a little boy who has a tree house and his books are his best friend. And then
he's afraid to he's just a very scared kid.
Timid.
Yeah.
And he goes into this fantasy world full of books and makes friends.
Who are books.
Specific books.
Yeah. And one of them is like adventure and the other one is fantasy, I think is the one that she's called. And then the other one is horror and his favorite is horror. So Brittany actually made me a pattern.
Oh, don't give me that much credit. This is a pick-to-pat pattern. Okay. So
well, I was telling it.
I just fixed it.
Everyone while I was stitching, I was like, Brittany made this pattern. So, whoa, I knocked over something. So here is, I don't have it because my friend has it. But here is a picture of, and I think it turned out really well.
This is on 18 count, and the finished size is about 5x7, I think, or 4x6, something like that. Because we thought maybe we'd frame it, but I don't think we're going to frame it. I don't know what you want to do.
Yeah, well, I given him a journal. The goal was to put it on the journal that I gave him, but it was like right down to the wire as far as finishing this
none of us
project.
Relate to that either.
And it was, I was going at a really steady pace with it, and then I got to, what do you call it, like confetti? Yeah, and it was like 1 stitch of this here and 1 stitch of this here.
Filling in all that confetti at the end. It's tough.
I remember, at the very end, I was just going around this pattern being like, what am I missing? So, but it was fun. It was fun. It was worth it. And
lots of different colors, which really give it a nice depth. It looks just like the character.
It does. It's really cool. I like it a lot.
So, and
it's definitely the most challenging one I've done so far. I think.
Even more challenging than this little thing?
Yeah, I think so.
So you started cross-stitching this year, so we can't really be like, oh, well, what new techniques or what new things did you learn?
Yeah.
Everything.
I feel like I learned a lot.
Was new. Oh, yeah. For sure. I am convinced that we should get him to stitch on linen / even weave sometime.
I'm nervous.
No need to be nervous. You can get it. Once you get your brain around it, it's second nature.
Yeah.
But everything up till now has been Ada, which of course is great. And what is your favorite of your finishes that you made?
I don't know. I like both of these a lot. The mage and the dragon. Yeah. I liked the dragon a lot because it wasn't necessarily very difficult, but the finished product I was really proud of and really happy with because I think it looks really good. But it was definitely something that I could just be like, oh, I'm doing this for fun. It's so and
it didn't have a deadline.
Yeah, there was no deadline on it. And then this one, I just liked the character and I liked the fabric and the colors, cool. And so yeah. So yeah, these two guys.
Think of any other kind of fun year in review questions I can ask? Well, no, but what are you maybe going to do later? I'm going to maybe show you how to do today.
To frame them.
Yeah. We bought frames a little while ago to put them in from some frames.
We have, and then we just haven't gotten around to doing it.
Just haven't had a chance to show them how to do it.
Our busy lives.
Well,
we are pretty busy.
I've been busy.
Yeah.
I feel like I've been busy too.
Yeah. So. Well,
yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. Yeah. Now, Tommy's going to have a few months next year where stitching might be a really fun thing for him to do to relax.
Mm-hmm.
Won't go into any details, but maybe in the summer he'll have something. Maybe.
Yeah.
I'll have to pick out some projects.
I need to make sure I have all of the supplies that I need before I go. I mean, I'm sure I could get them there too, but
it would.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Probably.
Yeah.
Like anything, you'd probably have to be careful with.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we're gonna find something for him to stitch. If he picks anything in the next 2 months or so, maybe we'll pop back in to show you. But for now, that's Tommy's 2016 Stitchy Year in Review.
It happened.
Yeah. I'm so happy to have a friend who stitches with me.
Yeah. I'm so happy to have a great friend.
Yeah. And our birthday's coming up. We're birthday twins.
Oh my gosh. We're going to be 20.
Right.
Oh.
Okay. Well, thanks for stopping in.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah. Here's to a great 2017.
Yeah. Here we go.
All right, I'm back. I thought for this 2016 Year in Review, Lemmy Cat Stitches cross-stitch video, that I would go through all of my finishes for the year and show those off for you, and then also go through all of my whips that I'm carrying over into the next year, because between the two of those, that'll cover any new starts that I made this year, and I think that'll pretty much cover everything. I have some water here because I'm sure that I'm going to need it at some point. This is a big stack of stuff. A big stitchy stack. And I think that I will need to be talking for a while about them. I also have, this is my book that has all my notes on each of my project, which I was very slack on this year, but I will tell you what info I have about them, and then this is just a list of all of the projects that I want to talk about in the order that I want to talk about them in. So with that kind of introduction going, let's get started. So first I'm going to talk about finishes this year. So 2016 I ended up having 19 finishes. Some of those are FFOs, some of them are not FFOs, as you will see. Some of them were gifts were gifts, so they are not with me. Some of them I do still have. One of them is a gift waiting to be finished, fully finished, and I will tell you about that when I get there. But a big part of my year, 2016, or at least the first half of the year, is I had started the books publishing freebie patterns. It's the Advent Animals, and I'm sure if you are a viewer of Flosstube, you have seen these, and you've possibly seen Lindy Stitch's fantastic finish of them all, but I only got 6 of them done this year, and I started at the beginning and was hoping to do at least one a month, and I had some really good luck with it for a while, and then just kind of fell off the bandwagon with it. So I'm going to show you them all that I have finished, kind of in the order that I did, well, in the order that I did them, but some other whips or finishes in between. But of course, the Advent Animals, there is an animal for each of the first 25 days of Christmas. My intent is to stitch them all on this piece of fabric, which is a linen. And it is a 32 count linen in Blue Whisper. So my plan, like I mentioned, is to stitch them all on this, and I want to cut them all out and turn them into individual ornaments, backing with some really cute quilting. Christmas quilting fabric, most likely, is my goal. So then I can start to kind of have a collection of ornaments for a future Christmas tree. But if you are familiar at all with these little animals, the first one is Katie Kitty. And so that was my very first finish of 2016. I counted, because they are all released as separate patterns and are all solo patterns, like they're not all in a booklet or something, or one file. I did consider them separate finishes, even though they're all in the same fabric. So yep, that's Katie Kitty. I think she's super cute, of course, because I love cats. But I finished her. I started her on the first of the year last year because Stitchmania had a stitch-along that was supposed to be a Brooks Books year-long stitch-along, and I started as part of that and ended up finishing her on the 4th of January, so it did not take me long at all to stitch her. The next finish that I had, and luckily this is just in the room next door to me, but it was one of the Pokemon that I stitched for my birthday twin Tommy, who you already saw today. This is one of 6 Pokemon that I am stitching / have stitched for him, and all framed in a little square frame like this. In the game, of course, you're a Pokemon trainer, and you can have 6 Pokemon up to 6 at a time with you, no more than 6. So I asked him to pick out 6. He did. This was the 4th one that I finished, and this is a Pokemon called Go-Goat. I like it. Not really too much to say about that one. I finished that for our birthday last year, so it was actually started as part of Stitchmania, the original Stitchmania in 2015, in May of 2015. And I can tell you specifically, it was, maybe. It was May 12th, 2015, and then finished on January 5th, 2016. And of course framed for Tommy's birthday. So that was exciting to get that done, which meant I only had 2 more after this. And then after that finish, it was another really exciting finish. This project I actually started on the, well, no, it would have been the 15th probably of 2015, and it was my very first stitch along. This is the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery's Storytime Sampler. I almost called it Once Upon a Time Sampler, but it's not that. And so each of these frames was released month by month, January, February, March, April, etc. And they feature classic stories. So you can see here we have Alice in Wonderland, Secret Garden, Sherlock Holmes, Wizard of Oz, Charlotte's Web, Peter Pan, Lady of Shalott, Phantom of the Opera, Black Beauty, Anne of Green Gables, Little Women, and The Christmas Carol. And this was really exciting for me to finish because I did not do a very good job of keeping up with it. I think I was able to stay like up to, maybe I was able to stay up to date until about August or September, but after maybe only the first 4. I don't remember. But anyway, I finished this at the very beginning of last year, or pretty close to the beginning of last year, on oh no, I didn't finish it at the beginning of last year. It was March 21st that I finished it. And yeah, I was very excited. This was also the first time I'd ever used hand-dyed floss, and one of the first pieces of hand-dyed fabric I ever owned. Speaking of, this is a 32 count Lugana in Dawn from Picture This Bliss, in case you're wondering. But yeah, I'm very pleased with that. I'm not quite sure how yet I'm gonna finish this right now. It's just in a little portfolio with one of my other finishes that I haven't figured out. I did make one change on this project, one major change, and that was I changed the text in the banner. So yeah, I really like this project, and I'm actually really considering doing the Happily Ever After SAL this year, but I've been so busy I didn't want to commit to something that I wasn't sure I was going to have time for, because I'll explain to you later about something else that might take some precedence. So after Storytime Sampler, I went back to my Brooks Books ornaments, and the next one that I finished was this guy here. This is Peter Polar Bear, and I just love, he looks so cozy in that sweater and with his big mug of hot cocoa. I'm a little jealous. Looks delicious. So he would have been done possibly before the Storytime Sampler, now that I'm thinking about it, although I'm not entirely sure. Yeah. He was started on the 5th and ended on the 18th. So, like I mentioned, I was doing really well with them for a little while. After Peter Polar Bear is this girl, and this is Mary Mouse, who is also just so freaking adorable. There she is. I love her toe shoes, the little candy cane, and her little tiara on top. I'm guessing she's the Sugar Plum Fairy. Would be my idea from the Nutcracker. She's sweet. I love all the different grays that were used in her. And then this next finish that I had is something I don't have with me, so I'll put in a photo. And that was an original pattern that I made for a friend of mine at the theater that I was working at. And that was started in March, and I finished a couple weeks later. And it is my Live, Love, Laugh pattern, and I'll show you the finish of it here. I stitched that on 18 count Aida and picked a whole bunch of different colors for it, and it ended up being very colorful, really fun, and she enjoyed it quite a bit. So, or she appreciated it quite a bit, and I guess enjoyed it too. And you can see there I finished it, framed it, and finished it up. So after that I jumped back into my Advent Animals, and I finished the next one, who is Duncan Dog. And there he is. You can see he's a Scotty dog, looking like a model in like a Ralph Lauren catalog or something. Definitely a catalog model, with his khaki pants and plaid sweater, and little like golfing cap. I don't know what kind of cap it's called. I don't know. He also looks like maybe he's going to go play a round of golf. He has a bone gift right here. So he's also very cute. I'm going to say that about every single one of these patterns, because they are all really supremely cute. And then after him, I finished number 5, who is Hattie Hedgehog, who just wants to bring you a cup of tea. You could see her cute teapot down here, and the teacup on her head. And a cute little adorable gift. I love the back stitching bows on that. And I also love the long / back stitch that does her prickles. It really adds a cool dimension to it. So cute! As I'm stitching these, and as I was looking at Lindy Stitch's finish, I was kind of frustrated that I decided to do it on linen, because I felt like my stitches and my back stitches weren't terribly even. But now that I'm looking at that, I'm actually a little more pleased with it. So maybe it's just having been removed from it for a while and looking at it. So after Hattie Hedgehog, I made the first in a group of finishes / whole type of stitching that I intend to do a lot more of. I made my first animal pincushion with the cross-stitch tummy, and this was actually a gift for Emily at Eclectic Possessions. She had sent me a pattern in the mail, and I thought I want to make something for her as a thank you gift. So I made her this adorable little bird. And he has kind of I've been calling it kind of like a thread demon on his tummy. It's a little imp demon looking guy, and he has a slash dragon looking guy, and he has a needle with a thread that ties into a bow around his neck. I was very pleased with how this came out. Oh, I almost forgot. I had one more finish before this, and that was the very first pincushion animal, and that was my Captain Almerica. I'm gonna have to write that down because I don't have that in my records. So Captain Almerica, I'll put in a picture here. He was made for the person I got. I participated in a secret stitcher swap that Elisa put together, and I had a partner, and I made that for her. So that was the first, and then Emily's was the second. And Emily's is closer to what they all ended up being. Captain Almerica was made out of upholstery foam in the middle, and then Emily's pincushion is the one that started with the crushed almond shells in the tummy and the polyfill in the head instead of the upholstery foam inside. So yes, the pincushions, those two were also involved. So I guess that makes it 20 finishes instead of 19, which is pretty great. I'll take it. And after that pincushion, I ended up making two of the same stitch, which was this adorable little Applejack, the pony, the My Little Pony character Applejack. I was going to BronyCon with some friends, and Applejack was their favorite pony, so I decided I would make them. Just a cute little... It was supposed to originally be a pin, but I didn't have time to find the pin backs to put on there. But I did back them in felt, and here is a picture of those. From that, or the pattern for that stitch is from PixelsinStitches on Etsy. And of course, when I mention Etsy patterns, I will put a link in the description, and also try to remember to put a link up here at the bottom of the screen too. Or at least the name of the store and the link in the bio. So after Applejack, I made another pincushion. This one is, I called the Goldfish Cat, and you will see why. And that was a pincushion I ended up selling in my Etsy store, and it is, you know, made the same way that Emily's was. And here is a string of these pincushions. The next one I did was an owl with a cloudy moon on his tummy. Then I made a bunny on commission from somebody. They contacted me through Etsy and said, "Oh, would you please make me a rabbit one?" So this is the rabbit. I really like that one. I think it turned out pretty cute, and I just love the colors on it. And then the last pincushion I made was also a commission through my Etsy store, and that was an elephant. And I think at this point I'm not going in any order anymore, or the right order. It'll kind of be in order, but I believe that this elephant was finished after the next thing I'm going to show you, but they were all on like the same page in my book. So but yes, the elephant, here's a photo. And that elephant is kind of fun. He flew all the way to Australia, which is neat. And the person who ordered him was very pleased, which I think he was pretty darn cute. So I'm happy to hear that. After I finished up the elephant pincushion, I was able to finish Cashmere Camel. So I thought, I had started her already and she was kind of left in an unfinished state. This is another Brooks Books animal. And so this is number 6. And I thought, you know what, I'm just going to take that out and finish her. And these animals really don't take too long. But yes, there's Cashmere Camel. I love her. She has eyeshadow, lipstick, and nail polish down here on her toes / hooves. And something fun about this stitch is that these are my very first lazy daisies ever. I didn't mind them so much. They were okay. I can't say I have perfect lazy daisies, but they were good enough that I could leave them in peace. So that's all of the Brooks books that I was able to finish last year. Ignore Katie Kitty. She's backwards because I used the wrong side of the fabric. But since I'm cutting all of these out to be ornaments, it's okay. It's not going to matter. But yeah, there are my Brooks Books animals. There's Katie Kitty that I have finished so far. I would love to get some more done in the new year. We'll see. I was just thinking the other day that I felt like I didn't have any small things to stitch on anymore, but that's a lie because each one of these is pretty small and would be fun to take out. So I was talking about those Pokemon that I'm stitching for my birthday twin the other day, or earlier in this video, and I finished one more of those last year, and that is Electabuzz. And I finished Electabuzz in preparation for Tommy was coming back to the city after being gone all summer. So I thought it would be really fun to have him as a welcome home gift. I really like this one. I like the colors that I used and just the bold black and yellow. It's a really cool Pokemon design. The patterns that I used for the Pokemon that I've made are all sprites from the game. So Tommy was talking about how you kind of mess something up and you just fudge it. A lot of the times in these it was hard to count the pixels, like between 5 and 6 pixels or something, if there wasn't a good reference point. So this one / maybe a few of the other Pokemon all have a couple little mistakes in it. But you didn't hear that from me. And then I had 2 more finishes for the year, I believe. And one was I participated in another swap, and that was a swap for Sonia at Cat Crazy Creations put together. It was the idea was that you stitched a piece or you had a finished object in your wherever you put finished objects. It's not stash anymore, but you picked out something that was completely finished stitched and you sent it to somebody else who then had to make it into an FFO. And I had bought this pattern on eBay. Oh, and I didn't pull it out. I should have pulled it out. It is, I'll just show you how I ended up. It's a booklet called Nestling Sampler. And it is by, I have the information right here. I'll read that to you. It's by Country Cross Stitch. And it has all of these adorable little birds in it. And I picked 2 to kind of put together because the branches they were on looked similar. And the ones I picked were the goldfish and the Townsend warbler. But anyhow, I put that together and finished stitching that and was able to send it to my swap partner. And then, while I'm at it, it's a fully finished object, but I didn't do the stitching, so it might not really count. But I got this adorable cat from Sonia, and it has cat hair all over it already, of course. And I finished it into this fish-shaped pillow. So I sent birds, and I got a very contented-looking cat back. So... yeah. And then the very last finish that I have to show you, I had a wedding that I was making a gift for some friends of mine who are getting married in November. And I finished this in time for November. However, the week before the wedding, when I was supposed to finish it, my grandfather passed away. So I was not able to attend the wedding. And just kind of priority-wise, it fell off my radar. So I have the frame, and I just need to take the time to frame it and then meet up with them and give it to them. But this is the wedding sampler I designed for them. It's called The Very End. It's based on a Harry Potter quote and very much inspired by Harry Potter. So This is my finish of that. So it's on this really misty looking fabric, and the idea was that these are kind of there's a magic spell that has these ghostly animals appear, and so the idea is that these are the patronesses, that's what they're called, of two of the main characters who are in love. And then this quote is kind of a little bit taken out of context, but it all comes together to signify love. And it says, "You'll stay with me," and the answer is, "Until the very end." And so I'm really anxious to see how she likes it, because the bride is a good friend of mine from college who loves Harry Potter, so I'm hoping that she likes it. And it's going to look really nice framed up. I just need to take the time to do it. So thinking of goals for 2017, fully finish this, frame this. So that is all of my finishes from the last year. Last year, 2016, I ended up finishing, what did I just say, 20 projects, and then in 2015, I finished a little more than that, I'm fairly certain. I have it written here. Oh, I only finished 21 last year. Okay, so that wasn't so bad. I was thinking that I finished a lot less than I did the first year, but now I see that's not true, just one less. And I was very close to getting that one. I'll show you later. I have my first finish of 2017 to show you. But here's a funny thing. Well, I guess it's not actually too much more. I went into 2016 with 17 whips, and I'm coming out with 21. So speaking of whips, let's go into the works in progress that I'm going to be bringing into 2016. Alright, so this is probably going to take a little while, so definitely grab your stitching, maybe a cup of tea, something to keep you hydrated, and settle in, relax. And you know, I love all my whips, so hopefully you'll see some projects that you like too. I thought for this part of the video I would go through everything that I'm carrying over. Some of these, of course, were started in 2015. Some of them were started last year. I'll kind of discuss that as I go through each one and try and remember to give you any pertinent information. If there is something about a certain project that I did not answer that you are curious about, feel free to ask. I'm happy to answer any questions about my stitching, of course. So let's go ahead and get started with my oldest whip. I figure I'll just go through them chronologically. And my oldest whip, kind of my failure of last year, because I gave myself one goal, is to finish this piece. It's not finished. But that is my Mirabilia Emerald Mermaid. So that's her. That's what she will look like eventually. She's beautiful green with red hair. Course. And this is where I got on her. So I think what really kind of slowed me down was the skin. I decided to do it 1/1. And good news is last year I did manage to finish the skin. So here's where I'm at so far. And you know, this isn't small progress. And it feels really good to have the 1/1 done. I need to remember not to cover my face. So here you can see her kind of scary looking face. Oh, there it is. Scary looking face without the back stitch yet. Things that still need to be done are her hair. There are some trailing seaweeds here. There is a whole bunch of beads all along her too. And some Krynic in green. But maybe this is the year? Could be. I'd like to say it is. This fabric is a 32 count fabric. Something fun about this project, it was my very first time stitching on linen. I got into Flosstube, and then I saw everyone's beautiful Mirabilias, and then I thought, I'm going to challenge myself. I was doing it again. I'm going to challenge myself and try and do it right. And by right, of course, there's no right way to stitch it, but I thought I'm going to do it on linen. I'm going to use the beads. I'm going to use the metallics. I was excited. It was my very first project that one of my very first projects, / maybe the second project that I kitted up from a pattern and not a kit. Because there was a wedding sampler that I did before that. But yeah, the fabric is a 32 count linen in Valor by Picture This Plus, I believe, is the color I picked. It's a nice, very variegated green all over, hand dyed, of course. And I like her. She's going to be very beautiful eventually. This needle minder, by the way, is an octopus needle minder. It was one of my first ones, and I'm really... that's all I'm going to say, because I don't want to embarrass myself by my poor memory. And I don't want to say the wrong thing. So, anyhow, that's Emerald Mermaid. I have gotten quite a bit of progress done on her. I wanted to finish her last year. That didn't happen, but, you know, maybe it'll be this year. I'll have to find a stitch on or something that I can stick her in and try and get some progress done on her. I don't think she would take long if I committed a little while to her. We'll see. So that was my oldest whip. My second oldest whip at the moment is a BAP. It's a giant project, and I haven't actually worked on this one in a while. I think since not long after May. I'm doing the Sprite Stitch Epic Pokemon Generation 1 cross stitch, which is a giant piece with all 151 of the original Pokemon from the original games. And I started this in Stitch Mania of 2015. I think it was my second start of that original Stitch Mania. Yep, May 2nd, 2015 I started it. I don't have much progress to show for that. There's people who are powering through this design. Instead of going page by page like most people do with this, I decided I was going to stitch each Pokemon individually and then move on to the next one, just because it's really fun to see them come to life, Pokemon by Pokemon, and it's very nostalgic for me. It's kind of like catching them all. So yeah, I'd like to pull this one out again soon. It's a fun stitch. I have the first 5 done. The next one's going to be Charizard. It's a really cool dragon. Well, he's not actually a dragon. Flying lizard, I guess. Flying fire lizard, I should call him. But yeah, I really love this project, and hopefully this year I'll be able to check off a few more of those Pokemon. That needle minder, by the way, is just a little button wooden rabbit with diamonds on it that I got from Julie at Nifty Needle Nannies. I need to switch it out for one of my Pokemon ones. I'm going to leave it there for now. So yeah, that's my second oldest whip. My next oldest whip is another special one, and I know you guys have heard me talk about these multiple times through, the last 2 years, at least year and a half. And this one is from a pamphlet called Barnyard Quilts. It was another Stitch Mania start. I use start in quotations because it was already started. I found this at home in my parents' basement. My mom and dad were getting ready to move, and my mom asked me to go through all of the craft stuff in the basement. And I found this piece already started, and it was actually started by my mom and never finished. So I thought it would be really special to finish it up. It is on a 14 count Aida, kind of fiddler's cloth kind of look, and I started stitching on it as part of Stitch Mania in 2015. So here are the ducks. That's the one I'm stitching right now. And here is where I've gotten with them. So I know last time I stitched, I was able to finish up this quilt, and I started... Sorry, I didn't iron this. I started on those cute little ducks you see down there. I think the big duck for sure gets an eye, but I just didn't do it yet because I know French knots can come loose pretty easily, so... This piece will be really fun and special to finish up eventually. So, yes, that is Barnyard Quilts. That one's coming into the new year with me. After that, these are all a whole bunch of starts from Stitch Mania 2015 that I still do not have finished. The next one is Dimensions Gold Collection Petite. It is called Napping Kitten. Really sweet little kitten napping on a branch with a ladybug and lots of beautiful pink flowers in the background. And I started this as part of Stitch Mania 2015 as well. And I'm stitching it cross country color by color. And so what I have done right now is the result of 2 years of Stitch Mania and a little work on it right after Stitch Mania, I believe. And I think I stopped at the end of this color. So here you can see, of course, all of the stripes in the cat. His little paw, his other paw, his face, little leg peeking out from behind the branch. I think it's cute. It will be cute eventually. I have 3 cat kits on the go right now. I just bought that new Leonardo kit, and as much as I'd like to start that, I'd love to finish up one of these other cats before I start that cat. Next oldest is another cat kit. It's a Dimensions kit. It's called Warm and Fuzzy Kitten. That's what it's going to look like. Finishing up, I just love the sunlight on the fur around here. Although this rug makes me feel like it would be very dusty. I don't know if it's from like seeing those at my grandma's house, like that kind of oriental style rug, but it just feels dusty. So this one is Black Ada. It's one of my few projects that are stitched on a really dark fabric, and I can understand why people don't care for it. This is as far as I've gotten on this. Again, it is about 2 years of Stitch Mania worth, maybe a little extra progress there after one of the manias. But again, this one is one that I stitched all of one color on, and then kind of figured that was a good stopping point. So yeah, it's another little stripy kitty ghost kind of thing. They look a little silly, it's true. And then after Warm and Fuzzy Kitten comes this kit. It's called Be Joyful. It's a Design Works kit, and there's a series of 3 of these. I already stitched the owl, but I gave it to a friend. So I'd like to stitch this one. You'll see another one in the series, and then I haven't started the owl again yet. But this one was part of Stitch Mania 2015 as well. So I worked on it Stitch Mania 2015, Stitch Mania 2016, and then I think I did do a little work after that. And this one again is at a good stopping point. I think that's kind of how my rotation works, is it's a goal-based rotation, which means I get to what I think is going to be a good stopping point. And in this case, it was I got all of the cross-stitching done on the bird. It was really cute. I like the rests on the belly and then the turquoises on the wings and the head. I think it's really pretty. So this is another one that might not take it has a lot of backstitch. That's the only thing. If you look here, all of the feathers are backstitched. All of the flower petals and leaves are backstitched. It's not a huge project. It might go pretty quick if I decided to focus on it. After Be Joyful, it's another Stitch Mania 2015 start, and you just saw this. If you're one of my subscribers, you just saw this in a previous video. It's the Ebony and Ivory Dimensions kit, the other cat kit. And this is where I'm at on this one, just a reminder. Not quite as scary a cat. Still a little ghostly. Still, I'm looking forward to how this one is going to turn out. I think it's going to be really nice. And I had a great time stitching on this the last time, so who knows, maybe I'll pull it out again soon. And then next Stitch Mania 2015 start is the second in that series I was telling you about. This is called, sorry, my stack is falling. This is called Have Faith. It's a quail, I believe, on a branch, and has, you know, a very similar style with the flowers and the leaves. And sorry I'm not giving you dates when I started. I didn't, you know, especially for Stitch Mania, they're all within 2 weeks of each other, so I thought it might go quicker if I just come through. Now, this one has only been worked on the 2 days, the first day of Stitch Mania in 2015 and one more day of Stitch Mania in 2016. So it's not nearly as far as the Be Joyful. So you can see it's the bird's tail here, and the feet, and the branch. The rotation kind of that I've been working on lately is to go through my whips chronologically and have kind of a goal. And this one is actually the next one, so maybe I'll pull that one out very soon and work on that one. And then the last of my 2015 Stitch Mania starts is this. It's the Chocolate Bunny Sampler by Casey Buonagurio. And it's really cute. Makes me hungry. I love chocolate, and I love chocolate eggs, and chocolate Santas, and chocolate bunnies, and Reese's eggs, and Reese's trees, and Reese's hearts, and Reese's pumpkins. I'm not very far on this one either. It was worked on, I think, just the 2 days of Stitch Mania, the first year and the second year. And you can see there I have one little band done, and I have the eggs done. Just about. There's a color here that I think that I was missing in the chocolate egg that I need to go back in and fill in, but if I follow the same rotation, this will be coming up very soon too. Oh, and this fabric, because it is a special fabric, it's a hand dyed. It's a Lugana in Sprite, 32 count by Picture This Plus. It's a nice light purple, which I thought would be nice for Easter. Of course, I always think of purple as an Easter color. So those are all of the Stitch Mania 2015 starts. So the next start that I had was kind of my second BAP, and that is the very first full coverage design that I attempted. Am still attempting. It's not a UFO yet. I think I would still like to do it. We'll see next time I get around to it in my rotation if it still is something I want to devote that much time to. But it is a painting done by a neo-impressionist painter called Theo van Rijsselberg, and the title of the painting is After the Bath. I'll put a picture of it right here. And I wish I could remember when I got this first page done, but I don't. This is the first time I ever was stitching on 25 count, the first time I was doing a full coverage design, the first time that I ever parked. So this is all that I have done. This is a partial page here at the top. It's not even a full page, but it is a complete page in the pattern. And you can see here I have a couple of rows into the second page. And there's that needle minder. It's Poison Ivy. I got her from Juliet Nifty Needle Nannies, of course. She's got beautiful rhinestones all over her bodysuit. So, yes, this is a 25 count Lugana. I am stitching it 1/1 if you couldn't tell there. And I'm parking. For whatever reason, when I first started parking, I found it, rather than go column by column, I found it a little easier to go row by row. I think next time I do pick this up, because of all the concern that I've heard from other Flosstubers and other stitchers in Stitch Mania about the columns showing in the stitching or having big marks between pages, I think I will look into doing more of a cross-country, like a mini cross-country / a little page blending, so that it's not strict blocks. Just because if I'm going to put that much effort into this pattern and to stitching this design, then, you know, I want it to look nice and not to be looking at that all the time and seeing that, you know. I feel like I have seen what other stitchers, you know, mention when they talk about that. I don't think I would ever look at a stitch piece and think, oh, that looks terrible. But like if I noticed it in my own stitching, I think it would be hard for me to ignore it from there on out. So we'll see about that that piece. I used to kind of tease, well, Lindy Stitches and I would kind of tease each other about our progress on that and her full coverage, and she's hers is a give up. So I don't know. We'll see. I think I have to look. Stitch Mania has one day a month that's going to be a full coverage SAL, and I think one of my goals was to work on that day. It might be the 5th. I'm going to have to double check on that. I'm excited for that. Maybe that's going to be a good way for me to get me to pull this piece back out. So after the bath, I started a project which I fell in love with the very first time I saw someone stitching it and purchased all the patterns, and that is my Sing a Sampler series. I just showed this in my last video as well. It's Silver Creek Samplers. I only have the first 2 patterns here to show you, but it goes through the whole Do Re Mi song from The Sound of Music. And I mentioned how I really would like to stitch this, and a really good stitchy friend of mine, who I had watched her videos up until that point, but we didn't really become stitchy friends until after, she sent me the other part of her fabric, and that was my impetus to get started on this. And she sent me some of the recommended threads that she had left over, and I've been using some hand-dyed from previous pieces I've used. And I have the first 2 parts of the pattern done. So I have Doe a deer, a female deer, and Ray, a drop of golden sun, finished up. I know that if I pull this out again, it's going to be really easy to get another block done. These go by so quickly, and they're just so fun to stitch. Very, I wanted to say very simple. However, I did have some trouble with the text in the last one that I stitched, I think. Maybe because I underestimated it and I was concentrating a little less than I probably should have. So, that is Sing a Sampler, another 2015 start, yes, another 2015 start that's being carried over into 2017. I guess since this is post-Mania, I should probably tell you when I started them. After the Bath was started on June 1st of 2015, so that was right after Stitch Mania. And then the Sing a Sampler was started in September of 2015. So I've had that one going a couple months over a year. After that is another pattern. It's a kit that I was gifted by another stitchy friend, and that is Helga and EJ sent this to me. And it's another one that you would have just seen in the last video. But it is the Disney Dreams Collection, Thomas Kincaid, Tinkerbell and Peter Pan, Fly to Neverland. That's what it will look like eventually. Someday. These patterns are huge. I don't know if you've ever, a lot of you have them in progress / have stitched them before. But for those of you that haven't had one in person, they're big. But this is how much I have. This is the middle of the pattern, so it's going to be this big, and it is all full coverage. And what's fun about what I have done so far is that I'm starting in the clouds, and the clouds all form the characters from Neverland. So this is actually the crocodile's tail there, and then this is a pirate ship. You can see these are the sails and the prow of the ship coming up that way. It'll be more obvious when I get more work done on it. D-Stitcher was talking about how she's hoping to work on her Snow White a little more in the new year. And I mentioned to her that she should let me know when she's stitching on hers because I'd love to get mine out. I started this one actually as a stitch along. It was for Not So Scary Halloween, which I started with Benjamin C last year. It's hard for me because I keep wanting to say last year, but it's technically not last year anymore. It was in October of 2015. So this one was started October 1st, 2015. And he was stitching The Little Mermaid. And I'm not sure how he's doing. I'm so far behind in Flosstube, I feel like I don't know what's going on in anyone's lives anymore, which is terrible. But moving on, because I know that this video is probably it's getting pretty long. Shoot. This next project is one that you would have seen in my last video as well, and that is my Haunted October Nights October Carousel horse. And I'm going to show you a picture of what it will look like when it's done. Right there. This was started in October of 2015 as well as part of the Bringing Home the Raven Queen stitch along that Stitch Mania had. The idea was to either stitch the Raven Queen or to stitch something spooky or Halloweeny. And so I started this, and this is an exciting progress to share. Last time I was very excited to show you that I had the whole horse done. I love these patterns. And I know I say it every time, but I'm going to stitch all of them. I had a blast stitching on that one, and I know if I pull it out again, I'm not going to want to stop. That's how I feel about most of these projects. Which is good, I guess. But when you have so many, how do you choose? So after Haunted October Nights is another really beautiful project I have going on that I have not touched in too long. I need to pull it back out again. But it's a pattern that I started from Jane Netley Mayhew's Cross Stitch Safari. If you are an avid Flosstube viewer, I'm sure you have seen this book floating around. And the pattern that I saw and fell in love with is the Queen of Cats, the leopard. So I have this piece started, and I have some decent progress of it. I'm about a quarter of the way done. And this is another one that is a deceptively large piece. This fabric is a fabric that I hand painted. It's a 28 count even weave. But there you can see I have the first quarter of the pattern done. I think she's going to be stunning when she's done. Her face is going to come this way, and it's like she's going to be looking out over the Savannah sunset. And the grasses, of course, will come out here too. But I have not touched this piece in a long time. I really should pull it out again. Maybe in the comments, if you see one of these pieces and you think I should work on it, tell me. And maybe I will work on that one next. So that is my Queen of Cats. She's so beautiful. Again, I just love all of these projects. It's a good problem to have, I suppose. And I understand how you feel, Katie, when you say, I have so many whips and I love all of them. I can't pick too much a favorite. So that was my last 2015 start. The next start I actually started at the beginning of the year last year, and I have made very little progress on it. It is the Art Nouveau Merida pattern by, the artwork is by Hannah Alexander, but the pattern itself was converted by pinkythepink, who does a lot of time picking just the right colors and putting in backstitch that's gonna look really nice. It's like a mirror, basically a Disney princess mirabilia is what it is. So I'll put a picture of what Merida will look like here. Now, I had grand intentions of stitching this entire piece 1/1. Last time I pulled this out, I decided that that was not going to be very fun. So that's not happening. The fabric I picked is a 36 count linen in Mellow by Picture This Plus. And this is where I'm at on her. She's going to be very large. And I think the compromise I made for myself is because I had already done all of these stitches 1/1, is that whenever there's a fractional stitch, I will continue to do it 1/1. For example, in kind of her belt here, in these straps, there are tiny beads and there are little quarter stitches around those beads. So I will do all partial stitches 1/1. However, I'm going to go back in the rest of the pattern and do it 2/2 because it's just going to take too long. And I'm sure it would look beautiful in the end, but I want to have fun stitching it. And when I pulled this out the last time and looked at that, I was like, I don't want to do that. So this pattern's going to be really challenging to pick back up again just because of trying to find that compromise and work with what I've already stitched. I would frog it, however, if I frog it, I'm worried I'm going to ruin the linen. Last time I tried frogging 1/1 was on 32 count and it was hard enough, and I just feel like 36 count would be even more difficult. So yeah, D-Stitcher is doing the bell from this series, and it is looking beautiful. And that's kind of when I last picked this up, it's what inspired me to pick it up again. And I want to make progress, and I want to see progress, and I just have come to the conclusion that if I stitch it all 1/1, I'm not going to enjoy it, and then it will just take such a long time. I have so many projects. So next 2016 start is a start that happened in Stitch Mania of 2016, and this is an original Ingleside Imaginarium pattern that I'm working on. It is called Rapturous Love. I'll put in a picture here. And this piece I only worked on the one day in Stitch Mania 2016, and I started on the tail of the right hand raptor and got that much done. And I put in a little back stitch too because I just wanted to see how much the back stitch would make the details come out, which it really helps. I was kind of debating whether or not I should backstitch designs, like entire designs. And I've decided I really like the detail that it gives those designs. This fabric is 28 count MCG textiles. Even weave in, it's not oatmeal, but it looks like oatmeal. It's got all those little specks in it, but I think they call it something else. So that is my Rapturous Love, and I would like to get that back out again too. I just want to stitch on everything. We're getting towards the end. Just a few more. Thank you for bearing with me. The next one is also a Stitch Mania 2016 start. And you saw this one just in my last video as well. It is my Sugar Skull C3PO by StitchLine on Etsy. Here's a picture of it. And here's where I'm at. I'm stitching it and the two other pieces, the Darth Vader Sugar Skull and the Stormtrooper Sugar Skull, on a piece of 32 count Dusk by Picture This Plus. And here's where I'm at on C3PO. This is another really fun and fast stitch. I just need to not ever No. I just wish I had all the time in the world to stitch. And then I could stitch on everything. Next piece is another Ingleside Imaginarium original pattern that I started this with the intent to make it into the model stitch that I would show on the Etsy listing. And it is in the same series as my very first original pattern that I ever made, which is Hot Stuff. And this one is called Gimme Some Sugar. Oh, I'll show you a picture of it here. And then this was my start for Stitch Mania 2016. It's just the lid of the sugar bowl and the spoon coming out of it. And this is the 28 count mushroom Lugana that you can find at Michael's in a little bag. I believe it's MCG Textiles too. Just a few more now. We're getting close to the end. This next one is also a Stitch Mania 2016 start, and it is a Country Cottage Needleworks pattern called In the Meadow. And it's this really sweet snowman with a whole bunch of variegated threads. My intent is to stitch this for my grandmother, who has a gigantic snowman collection. And I'm stitching it on the recommended fabric, which is the 30 count Weeks Dye Works Scuppernong. And this is what I have finished so far. I have, what does it say? Ken Bill Snowman. Ken Boyle Snowman. And if any of you have worked on Weeks Dye Works linen, it's pretty thin, so I'm having trouble getting it to show up. But, yep. Just started working on the text there. I think it'll be really fun when I get into the trees and the snowflake motifs, and of course the snowman himself. It'll be really cool. So that's another one of my whips that's carrying over into 2017. And two more, it looks like. We're almost at the end. This next one is the, well, I made its own special video about this one. It is the Birthstone Dragons SAL. I'm only going to show you the right edge of it, because this is the Garnet Dragon who was actually released today. And somebody has already finished stitching him, and he looks great stitched somewhere else in the world by someone else. So I'm feeling very relieved. There's been a couple of snafus, just a learning curve for me as a designer and as a provider of patterns / distributor. Like, I'm my own distributor as well. But I'm working through it. Everyone's been superbly patient with me, which is very much appreciated. I'm just trying to make sure everyone has a good time with it. But yes, there is the Garnet Dragon. The whole border is like this. There are 3 rows, and it's got that Celtic kind of running Celtic knot design on the edge. And of course, each month is going to be a new dragon. I'm trying to stay ahead, so I technically already have Amethyst here, and I have started on Aquamarine for March too. So these go pretty quickly. And like I mentioned in my Raptor pattern, I was considering not quite having so much backstitch, but I just love the way that makes the details pop on the dragons. So yeah, this one of course is one I'm very excited about stitching in the new year. The whole process has been exciting. It's been really cool to see the different, I said this in the other video, but to see the different fabrics and threads that everyone is using. I just can't wait. I was posted on somebody's post that I'm going to have a draconic invasion of 2017 because they're going to be all over my little dragons. And then the very last start that I made last year was kind of an impulse start. I saw a piece of artwork that I really liked by an artist and asked her if I could pay to have the rights to convert it into a cross-stitch pattern and stitch it. And she said yes, and that is the Piper pinup picture from Fallout 4 by Crystal Graziano. Here's a picture of what she'll, well, here's the original artwork. And then here is where I am. I'm stitching her an 18 count Ada that I hand painted to look weathered. And you can see there I have her leg, her front leg, pretty well filled in. I'm working down here currently on her boot. And I really like this project. I'm really enjoying it. It is very confetti heavy because I ran it through Pick to Pat to get this pattern, and I picked the max colors that I could because I wanted the detail to be there. And so it is, you know, there are some confetti spots. I've definitely hit a spot where I'm like, I screwed this up somehow, but one, I'm just going to stitch over it, /2, it's not going to be quite right. And the shades are so similar, I think it's going to be okay. But yes, that is all of my WIPs that I'm carrying over into 2017. So you can expect to see these, hopefully, at least once this coming year. And there may be some new starts. I already did make a new start today because it was new start, new year. It's not a project that's going to be around a long time, but it is a new start. I thought I wanted to be included with everyone who's having a new start today. I did, however, have a finish. I was working on this last night leading up to midnight because Tommy's birthday and my birthday is coming up soon. So I wanted to get his last Pokemon finished. So this is the last of the 6 Pokemon. I stitched this. I started it in Stitch Mania 2015, so it's another Stitch Mania finish, which is always a great feeling. And this is another Pokemon. It's called Quilava. So I just need to frame this up before the 16th, and I will give it to him, which will be exciting. I'll have to take a picture of the full collection, because he remembered to bring, the very first one was at his mom's house. Well, it was at his mom's house, and when he went home for Christmas, he remembered to bring it here. So it'll be cool to have the whole 6 Pokemon all together. We'd eventually like to hang them on the wall, so we'll have to find a cool arrangement to do them in, but for now it's fun that they will all be finished. And the new start that I made for 2017, this is going to be a pin cushion. I mentioned earlier that I intend to do a lot more. And this is a variegated thread. It's one of my first, I'm gonna say, small batch hand-dyed fabric. It is a floss that was given to me by a good friend, a good stitchy friend. It's one of LJ's, or Lucas's. I keep wanting to call him LJ. It's one of Lucas's unicorn tails. So this one in particular, I'm gonna guess is Phi, maybe Phi. And it's a really beautiful blue and teal, or turquoise color. I've unwound it so it doesn't look quite so pretty as it did when I first opened it up, but you can see there they're really pretty colors. So I am using that. Thank you, Stitchy Friend, for sending me that. It's very exciting to use. I've never used Moe's or Fibralicious or anything like that, so it's fun to have them and to have started a project with it. So yes, that is my very first start of 2017. And I have to decide when and if I want to start anything more. I'm not really feeling the immediate need to start anything new. Although I was just on Stitch Mania and people are posting in the Joan Elliott Tour to Designers that started today. And in the back of my brain, I'm thinking about that Celestial Dragon. So we'll see. I don't really need a new start. I have all of these fantastic WIPs that will keep me going. So let's see. 2017 goals, I thought of a few while I was here. I would love to get one more page done on my full coverage after the bath design. And as part of that, I would love to participate in the full coverage Stitchmania SAL. So one day each month this year to stitch on it. I'm going to say I would love to get Emerald Mermaid done this year. We'll see if it happens. And the other big goal that I have is that I would love to get through my Dragon SAL successfully and see a whole bunch of finished projects at the end of the year that everyone is very pleased with. I'm excited, but also feeling a lot of pressure about that. So, yeah, it's going to be a good year. I'm feeling very hopeful and positive, and hoping it's going to be a very artistically fulfilling year in all of my different things. You know, theater and crafts and cross stitch, and at work at the costume shop. You know, I'm just feeling pretty blessed and very lucky that I have such an artistically centered life. You know, last year I got the job at the costume shop, and as rough as some other aspects of 2016 were, that is a dream that I never dared to dream. I thought maybe in 20 years I'd work at a regional theater or community theater doing costumes, but you know, the shop I work at does costumes for Disney and Broadway and national tours and movies and everything, so I'm feeling pretty lucky about that. So I believe that's everything that oh no, there's one more stitchy thing to tell you about. 2016 was rough on some of my family members. My grandfather passed away, as I mentioned, and my sister went through a rough patch at work, and they ended up letting her go. So there is a project that I started in Stitchmania of last year that has become a UFO. I haven't had a chance, but most likely because this is a nice fabric. It's a 36 count dill by Picture This Plus Linen. I'm going to frog it out. This was the Kawadi stitch that I had started for her from this book, which is a Mary Ellen Yannick, Jeanette Cruz Designs Inc. Wild and Weird booklet. I was doing this piece down here. It's an animal called a Kawadi. That my sister took care of at the zoo, but since she's not working there anymore, I'm not going to finish that because I know that she mentioned that she doesn't want to have it, so I don't blame her. It was a situation that was really frustrating for all of us to see her go through. And it just you know, people everywhere. You hear a lot about, and I see a lot of drama in the arts. But there's drama in every workplace. The one good thing is that all happened right when my grandpa got very ill, because all of it happened very suddenly, and she was able to go and be with my grandma to get through all of that. So, yeah, 2016 has been a little rough. This is my first ever UFO. And you know what I'm going to say? I've got lots more stash, and UFOs never bothered me anyway. I'll have to go watch that video to feel better about that. Yeah. 2016. So long to you. You had your ups, you had your downs. Had a lot of good stitching in it. But I'm going to say hello 2017 and just hope that it treats all of you well. And is full of some good stitching for me and good stitching for all of you. That's my sincere hope. And, you know, good other parts in life, but at the very least, good stitching. And with that, I'm going to sign off. My voice is getting pretty tired, and I have this video in a few different pieces, so I'm not even entirely sure how long it is at this point. But I'm excited to be bringing all of these projects into the new year, and I'll be excited to share them with you. And with that, I'm going to say Happy New Year one more time, and say see you next time. Bye!